Listen, this is super important. If you want to communicate in English with confidence, stop studying English. I'm serious. You need to stop studying English now. You already know enough vocabulary, you know enough grammar. But somehow, your brain keeps telling you, study more, learn more. It's like your brain tells you, you don't know enough to practice yet. Don't practice yet. You need to know more things. You need to learn more things. And this is a trap. So you need to stop studying and start practicing. If you don't do this, you will end up in this endless student mode. This happens to a lot of people. You study, you learn, and you know words, you know expressions, but somehow, when it's time to speak, your brain freezes. The reason this happens is because your brain is divided in two important hemispheres. You have a theoretical side and you have a practical side. The problem with the way we learn English is because somehow we got convinced that learning English is the same as learning other things. But think about this. How did you learn to drive? Or how did you learn to cook? How did you learn to swim? How did you learn to ride a bike? These are practical things. There are a lot of things that you learn by doing. You don't learn how to drive by reading a book about it. I am sure you didn't learn how to ride a bike reading about it, preparing to do a test about it. This is not how you learn practical things. Aha! To be able to speak a new language with confidence is 100% practical. Of course, there is theory involved, but the way to learn how to speak with confidence is to learn and then apply, learn and then practice. Oh, and let me tell you this, you learn while you practice. To do this, you need to do something that is really uncomfortable. To be able to learn English well, you need to get outside of your comfort zone. Now, somehow you got convinced that if you learned more, if you just learned and learned, maybe memorized more, when it's time to use these things, you can't use them. Because you never learned how to do the bridge between theory and practice when it comes to learning how to communicate in English. We evolved to want safety. We want to feel safe. We want to feel secure. This is normal. So your brain will always fight to keep you in your comfort zone. Always. Now, to speak a new language when you're not 100% secure, when you're not 100% comfortable, feels unsafe. So your brain will try to keep you from doing this. Your brain, or the theoretical side of your brain, will say, don't practice yet. Let's learn a little bit more. Let's memorize a little bit more. Don't practice yet. Wait until you are more confident. But this is just your brain trying to keep you safe. You need to step out of your comfort zone. You need to put yourself in situations where you will fail. to be able to practice your English with more confidence. Have you ever been in a situation? Let me describe the situation. You know the vocabulary, you know the sentences, you know how to ask, how to answer, how to react to what other people say. You know this. And when it's finally time to speak in English, you get the perfect situation. There's the native, there's the person you're going to speak English with. And when the moment comes, you freeze. You don't know what to say. And then the person walks away. And almost the same minute, you go, oh, I could have said this. I should have said this. You just couldn't access them at the right time. Has this ever happened to you? I'm sure it has. I'm sure you identify with this. Why does this happen? This happens because there is a difference between your theory side, your theoretical side of your brain, and the practical side of your brain. That's why when you learn something in English, you need to practice it. How many times should you practice it? Should you practice it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? I would say you need to practice it a lot of times, many, many times. Actually, when you're practicing English, a very interesting thing will happen. You will be practicing something, and the theoretical side of your brain will go, hey, we are wasting time. Let's learn some new things. And when this happens, you need to say, wait, I know that I know this, but I need to practice it. Okay, so every time you learn something new, the next step is to practice. This is the step. You learn something and then you practice, 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 practice until you feel confident using it. Don't just learn English. Stop learning English. You need to start practicing. So a lot of times when your brain is demanding more grammar, more vocabulary, this is actually a defense mechanism. It's like your brain doesn't want to practice. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel secure. So instead of practicing, which feels uncomfortable, let's just learn, which feels safer. Oh, you can write things. You can try to memorize things. But it will only be through practice that your English will become more confident. In my years as an English teacher, I've seen people that had studied English for more than 10 years. And they were frustrated and sad that they couldn't speak with confidence. They were ready to give up. I remember I have one student that she is now learning how to practice her English. And she is very excited now of everything she can do. But there was a time that after studying for over 10 years, she was ready to quit because she couldn't use her English. She just learned and learned, but she could never use it. Now, after we started practicing, she started flying. She started really understanding how she could use her English. And do you know what she learned? She learned that it was okay to make mistakes. Ooh, that's the new idea. It's okay to make mistakes. Actually, when you're learning to speak a language, you need to make mistakes. Mistakes are exactly what you need. You learn something and you practice it. And when you practice, you will make mistakes. But mistakes will allow you to adjust. And those adjustments in the context of a safe practice mode, those are magic. It is that type of environment where you're making mistakes that will allow you to finally speak English with confidence. Now, if you feel that it's your time, if you feel that you are ready to move from study mode to practice mode, maybe I can help you. And so in this video, somewhere in this video, there's a link you can follow, and there's an application form, and put there who you are, where you are, what you've done, and I will review each application personally, and maybe I will be able to help. In the very least, I will be able to point you to the right next step that you need to move from student mode to practice mode. So the English you already know is just waiting to be unlocked, really. So you don't need, let me say this again, you don't need to study more. You just need to practice, because learning to speak English with confidence is not about studying more, but it's about practicing better. Confidence doesn't come before practice. Actually, confidence only comes through practice.